This these days. Back this week on schedule as promised, and thankfully there is lots to talk about. So we can jump right into that. However, there's been a conversation going on in the chat prior to the show that I've been dying to jump into, evidently, and so we need to catch up. The boys, Angus and Chad, have had a very busy summer. This is the Reader's Digest version. Very busy summer getting, they're doing gigs and whatever, whereas before summer began, they weren't quite as busy. And so it's been crazy. We've missed them here on the show because without basically you two and, Jeremy, there's not a whole lot happening on this channel. So in the chat. So I've had there are a couple other Canadians that hang out with us. But for the most part, if the three of you are not around, then, it's pretty quiet. So we've had a couple of shows where it was mostly just me talking, but I did get to show some stuff, which was very convenient, thankfully. I'm using the vMix Socials automatic title queuer. So what's going on, Jeremy? Good to see you. And so I'm just adding things to the queue, and anyway, hopefully John is going to tell us about butt kickers. I'm not too sure about that. I don't plan on doing that, but whatever. He's waiting for just the right moment. It's true. It's true. Yeah, so things have been a little bit busy, and this summer's been really good. Good for me at work, and apparently good for some people who have been busy ever since the summer began. And so that's great. I'm really happy for everybody. Good times, great oldies. Jeremy has also been saying, has had the same situation going on, doing my first big install as soon as my switcher comes in. That's awesome. Pretty excited to hear more about that. Yeah, I'm not Canadian. Wait, I'm not Canadian, but I'm from Michigan, but still not Canadian. Hey, that's okay. We can forgive that. That's no problem. All right, so let's talk briefly about some updates that have happened here. Now, first and foremost, my 7-year-old son is here at home today. He was home yesterday. He was not feeling well, and so unfortunately, he spiked a fever, which means he has to be home for 24 hours after the fever is gone, which was last night, and so he's fever-free today. However, he's home. So I've held him off of playing a game on his Nintendo Switch until now, and so now he is doing that. So we shouldn't hear from him, but if there's an emergency, he might show up in the office. The other thing is next week we're talking about building an intercom system over a Dante, with Dante as the backbone. And I stumbled across this because Doug Johnson Productions, who's also a YouTube channel, shout out to Doug, who definitely deserves your time and attention if you're not already subscribed to him. He built one out of Dante using a Radius server, and that's the way that I think I'm going to go. Now, Radius, not the DHCP Radius password stuff, not that, but by Symmetrics Radius, which the product itself is actually used for like conference rooms and things like that. Biamp is another company that is similar. And I had a friend at Bird Dog who, man, I need to send him a message. His name was Robert, and he was a audio engineer, like professional. He'd gone to school for it, and he worked for Biamp, and so he talked about that a lot. So then when I stumbled across Symmetrics and they said, well, another competitor to this is Biamp, I made that little connection right there. So kind of cool to make those connections. But sorry guys, I'll try and keep up in the chat too while I talk. But next week we're going to talk about installing or designing and making. What's going on, Judson? Man, good to see you. It's been a long time. Welcome. It's good to have you here. So next week I'm going to talk about building an intercom system over Dante. And this all kicked off prior to NAB of this year, but I took my coworker with me over to see Dante, their stand. And lo and behold, my friend Will Waters was at the stand. And I knew he was going to be there, and so I wandered over there, had a chance to say hello to him. And if you don't know Will is a legend in his own right, and he has worked for New Tech, he worked for NDI, he worked for Dr. Cross, and then he moved over to Dante shortly after kind of like a big change up was happening at NDI. So under the VizRT umbrella. But this guy really knows his stuff and is quite knowledgeable about all things network-based video IP. Just give me a second here. I'm just looking for... Here they are. So I was able to run into my buddy Will. And Will is, if you see him around, he is definitely worth shaking his hand and getting to know, because not only... He is one of the like product developers now for Dante, and seriously, he's out of San Antonio. He does such a great job. He's done a bunch of the online trainings for Dante, and a conversation happened with Will prior to NAB, but really in front of my coworker with Will, about first and foremost, if you're doing live production, you got to sort out comms. Now, that's not the typical, like you wouldn't gravitate to that right away. That wouldn't be necessarily the first thing that you would think of, cameras or audio or whatever. Or how are we going to get it? But he said, no. Before you even go down that road, figure out how you're going to communicate with each other, because once you figure out how to do that, you can actually work through very complex problems if you have clear communication between you and your team. And, the more I thought about it, the more I realized he was right. Shocker. And we started thinking about, okay, what are we going to do about comms? Now, as you know, many shows, we have a Saramonic wireless headset, and it just isn't cutting it. And at NAB 25, we realized it's not even the right company ethos that we're looking for to support buying a product from. So when you buy a product, you're not only buying the product itself and all of its features, but you're buying whatever support system is behind it. And we found out that Saramonic, their support model is buy the next thing, buy the next upgrade. And that wasn't great. We were kind of under-thrilled with what we heard from them at the booth, that they said, oh, Gen 1s have those problems, you should buy Gen 2. And we decided we won't spend any more money with this company. We'll go elsewhere. And that is very typical of a lot of companies when you buy products, right? So if the support is crap, or the support is non-existent, or the firmware is flaky, or it launches but it doesn't have half the features, the public loses faith. And we all can relate to that because we're all kind of here under that same umbrella back in the day. So it's very important that Will had made the case that it was very important that you sort out comms. And so instead of buying a package deal of comms, we decided that we were going to we're going to build our own system. Okay. So we're going to build our own system, and that's going to be kind of something that we do in-house, which means that you actually don't have a direct support system, but you also cast a broader support system because you're using multiple products from multiple companies, and hopefully they're reputable. I'm just going to send these because my queue is not working for some reason. Butt Kicker is a product for bass players and drummers that vibrates a mat or their chair for IEM purposes. Yes, I have seen these for theater installs, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to install it in a mat, I think, because I stand usually when I play, but more on that in a minute. Order the Ross Ultra Solo. I ordered a Ross Ultra Solo. Ordered in July, saying it should ship the first week of September. Oh boy. Yeah, that's quite the wait time. Hey, I gotta run. I just saw a dog run past without a human attached. Time to go and be a good neighbor. Attaboy. Let us know when you come back. Hey, go get it, Angus. Symmetrics is my jam. We use that everywhere. What is going on, Judson? I'm glad to hear it. Home intercom or for the church? Okay, so this is for our production studio install. This is for my production team that we're planning on doing that with. And I will talk details next week because I will have the actual Radius server here, and we'll start setting it up and figuring it out. Now, there are a couple of items that have arrived. Give me a second. And those items are a TRRS headset by HyperX. This is the Stinger 2. It is basically a throwaway headset, although it is double-eared instead of the singles like our Saramonics are. Double with a microphone, TRRS headset. This guy is this is like a $30 headset, but I feel so much better investing in $30 headsets and buying like 4 or 5 extras if needed than spending a ton of money on $250 headsets for a bunch of people who really honestly are not going to be worrying about the fidelity of the sound. And we can set up all of the EQs and the program playback and everything inside the Radius. So I'm pretty excited about that. That is going to be a really fun way to do intercoms. And so this is just the endpoint headset that, we will eventually use. The other thing that showed up is a Dante AVIO adapter. And what we're using this for is we are going to bring in audio from our intercom via Dante, so our party line. We're going to bring our party line in on the input, and then we are going to output program on the other channel. So it's a dual channel input-output, and it will provide us with one input, one output. And the output will be the program from our soundboard, which we'll talk about ducking and all of that stuff. And then we will bring in the intercom party line so that my sound guy, who wears headphones anyways because he's listening to the stream and listening to the sound or whatever, he will be able to add the party line in as a separate channel so that he can just listen when he wants. And so I can get his attention. He can just hit a button on his board and it goes into his headphones. So that is so cool about Dante that we can do that. So we're big fans of the way that's coming together. Hey, if you need some metrics help, MHU okay, cool. I'll reach out to you, Judson. Ooh, Dante VIO. Sweet. Yes. We did it. We paid the price for that, but that is going to finally give me program audio in my headset. I'm so stinking excited about that. It is going to be, this is going to be so much fun. This is like an integrator's dream to be able to make this sort of setup, and pretty excited about that. Now, I just realized that I keep looking over at this screen because you guys are not there. So let me put you up there. And come on now. Where is there we go. Okay. I have been also monkeying around with Bird Dog Connect, just like good old times. Because, and I'll give you this update. All right, there we are. Because we have been working on trying to figure out what a return feed looks like. And so I've been working, I was like, let me just see if NDI can fix this for us. Sure enough, fairly simple to do. I will need my laptop, and I will need, my this confidence monitor, whatever, and a camera. But what's super nice about it is I can just throw the web stream up on the screen, and then that will just be a cam 1 with audio coming back to the return stream. So I don't know what the pricing tier is. I put it out there that, hey, I could really use all I need is one connection, and I don't even need it for a month. I need it for a weekend. So, or for like 3-4 days. So is there a pricing model that allows me to pay as I go? And Dan reached out on Facebook, so this is public, and just said, there might be some options. Please email me, and we'll see what we can do. So we're going to work with Bird Dog, Dan in particular, and check that out and see if that's not an option. Now, I have already, of course, tested the snot out of it, and it is good to go. So I really just need to see what the pricing options are and if it's feasible for us to do it. But it is up and running. The only thing I haven't tested on it is the audio return. I want to be sure that that's crystal clear and that we're not running into issues. I did notice that the audio or the NDI stream is like 10 megs, and when I was doing point to point. But then when I moved it to a web stream, it's only 3 megs. And so that's far more manageable. And quite frankly, all I need. I don't need it to be crystal clear. I need a return feed that we can see and hear what's happening at the soundstage. So I'm hoping that, Bird Dog Connect is going to work for us, because, man, that'd be cool to be able to use that system. And yeah, that would be great. Oh, hit me up. Okay, gotcha. Thank you, Jetson. I appreciate that. I might need some help because I see that there is a bit of a learning curve. Jeremy thinks that's funny. Hey, total side project discussion. Have you ever programmed a Scarhoy tally? I have not. And the reason is because I never really had time or any reason to get my hands on one, because we were always working on our keyboards back in the day. So I went to the Scarhoy booth at NAB and played around with things. And I should have taken video there, but took a look at their Blue Pill, took a look at their new boards, took a look at their KVM panel punch option. They had a lot of cool stuff. I just didn't take any videos, which I should have. Hey, maybe another show? I mean, sure, I'd be down for that. Love to have you on if you have one, and we can walk through it together. I used to have, Jeremy, I have, says Chad, we use Blue Pill to translate Blackmagic Tally into Panasonic cameras, and it works great. That's cool. One of the side projects, before we talk about today's topic, one of the side projects for the intercom system is to integrate the Blackmagic TalkBack Ethernet ports into analog ports for the Radius. And that's why we actually ordered a Radius 12 by 8, and I'm going to basically split those out into Phoenix connectors and see if I can't get the TalkBack ports to work so then guys just plug into the camera that they're using, the Blackmagic camera, because we already have the studio converters. So if we could plug right in from there to the Radius as analog channels, boom, boom, Bob's your uncle, and we could get going on it. So fingers crossed. I don't know. A lot of this is an experiment, but like this is the stuff that I love. I love to like play around and see if I can figure out how to make it work. And that, well, as you know, I mean, this show has been exclusively me playing around and trying to make it better. And you know, with the help of with a lot of help from people being generous and donating their time or energy or money or products, we have the show at this caliber that we do. So I'm pretty happy with it. Hey man, Jeremy says I'd love to connect Chad. Was having issues connecting it to Ross. Hey, I'm still a big Bird Dog fan, says Judson, but often the documentation isn't great. One example is the AI tracking on the X1 Ultra. Man, and that's something that I was very interested in when they launched these cameras was, all right, show me how you've upgraded the AI tracking, because when it was through cam control, it just wasn't very consistent. And so Frink, if you caught the Bird Dog show yesterday, Frink was demonstrating that a bit in his office. And, you know, one subject on stage, it was usually okay with that, but it looks to be at least upgraded in many ways. So I'm anxious to see that too. More information on that. Did you get AEC? I'm not sure if your use case and if you need it. Hey, my install is Ross. 2XAG CX350s, which I already had. Scarhoy RCP and Scarhoy Tally, excuse me. Yeah, Jeremy, sure thing. The trick was to tell Blue Pill that you have a joystick, even if you don't, and program it in there. Boom. Look at that. Hey, we're here to help each other. I love that. I love the little side tech going on in the chat. Well done. Okay, so what's up with today's topic? Well, let me share with you the problem that I had experienced a week or more ago. No, a week ago. Was it just a week ago? Oh, geez. One moment, please. Yoink. So, when was this? Okay, well, I think it was a week ago. I went to Lipscomb University. And at Lipscomb, we did a worship set for the new student orientation. And I've had this issue of, I've actually only ever played on stage a handful of times, right? Like less than 5 times. But I practice every day, and it's something that I'm doing. Hold on a second. Okay. All right. So I play just a beginner bass. It's basically like a practice bass, but it's a Yamaha, and it's fine. It does what it needs to do. Plays a tune. I wasn't going to invest in anything more than a few $100s if I wasn't genuinely serious about, you know, having a go at it. And so this is my bass guitar, and I've just been playing it for a couple of years now. And the story goes that I had a friend who said, hey, I need somebody to play. We need to like put a little band together, and I need somebody to play a couple of songs for something. And so he said, if you ever want to learn bass guitar, now is a great time to do it. And I thought, I know he's kind of joking, but I might do it just to see if I can do it. So I took the challenge, and I bought the bass guitar, and I bought a few things and kind of tried it out and did okay. It wasn't an amazing performance or anything, but it just did fine. And so I've been playing for a couple of years, and over at Lipscomb, we were doing mostly an a cappella worship set, but there were a couple of songs that they wanted to play with a band, and they needed a bass. So I practiced, and we played, and it went fine. It wasn't, again, an amazing performance, But one of the problems that I've been having is this issue where you can't hear what you're playing because your frequencies are too low and all the speakers are properly facing away from you and you're standing behind the front of house. So front of house speakers. So it's really hard to hear what it is you're playing. So I did this in January and I got really frustrated with it. And I thought, man, I need to sort out how to hear myself. And then, of course, time got away from me and I didn't do any of that. So then at Lipscomb a week ago, it happened again where I could hear certain frequencies crystal clear, but I couldn't figure out if I was playing the right notes or not. And so I started really thinking through, how could I do this where I can hear what I'm playing? I can be sure, for example, that I'm in the right key. I could test it before I play through the speakers. I could have like a kill switch, bunch of things. And I started thinking through what it is that I already had and what maybe I need to purchase to make that a reality. So I put together let me just catch up here on Judson. Hey, we have 2 X1 Ultras and have used tracking for a bit. Firmware updates sometimes improve and sometimes break it. It's an ongoing conversation with your former department. Hey, there's nothing wrong with the Yamaha. And I agree. The Yamaha, honestly, it suits me just fine. I'm not in a professional band. I'm not doing this for a living. I make $0 from any of it usually. And so I'm not doing it for money. I'm doing it because it's a skill that I would like to learn. I roughly know how to do chords on a guitar, but I sing, as you may be able to tell, I sing a bass register or the bass clef of songs. And so I'm already very familiar with that side of the music. And so actually picking up bass guitar was pretty easy, other than learning shapes, learning scales, learning all that stuff. That took time to do, but it's a lot better. So bass frequencies take multiple feet to form, a quarter wavelength. So that's very difficult for bass guitar. Thank you. Yes, I agree. We're in lockstep about that. Hey, we changed up our subwoofer design about 6 weeks ago, and it's been amazing. Using an inline gradient cardioid array. Ooh, that's fun. Well, let me tell you what I've been up to as like a self-check system. So I was like, certainly I could plug in headphones to this thing and like listen to it, right? So I plugged in headphones and my in-ears did not survive. So obviously in-ears have the tiniest of drivers, and these ones are Mi Pro, the M6 Pro in-ears, but the drivers are like insanely tiny. And so when I would play guitar, it would just come through like I was overdriving the sound all the time. And I thought, this isn't working. And then I was like, what if I put on like bigger headphones, right? So these are the M6 Pros. What if I put on bigger headphones? Well, remember long ago when I bought these Audio-Technica open back gaming headphones for intercoms, which they will go back, by the way, to my intercom system when we install it, TRRS. I thought, I wonder what these sound like. And I plugged these in, and I got actually a pretty clean signal. So then I was like, oh, it's just that the drivers need to be bigger, and then I'll be able to hear the bass frequencies. So then I busted out the old faithful. These are my recording studio headphones with a lot of customization on them, but these are my M50S's, which used to stand for straight. They don't make that anymore. And these are the hardwired, so you can't even take this thing out. But these are old school, several years old at this point, maybe almost 10. But these guys have been through the ringer with me, and I love them because they sit flat on your neck, and the M50 drivers are pretty much the same across their entire fleet. And so you're going to get a consistent, very flat sound with these. I can't recommend them enough, and they're not a ridiculous price tag compared to some others. Now, I do have another set of headphones here that are open backs that are the ADX700s or something like that. I may be getting that wrong. They're around here somewhere, and then I've got old school headphones as well that I've had for quite a while. Anyways, so I was able to like kind of hear myself in these, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. Like, okay, so I can play and hear myself. So now I need to configure this rig so that I have like a headphone amp. So I ordered one. I ordered a cheap headphone amp on Amazon, and it did absolutely nothing. It was a terrible investment, and I promptly returned it within a few days. And then I started looking around like, you know what, maybe, John, maybe you have what you need already for this, and you don't necessarily need to buy something new. And so I'll push this stuff off to the side here. And so I ended up with this rig. And this shows most of it. I go around the horn and show you what's going on here. But this is a, whoops, sorry, everybody. So I'll get back to the chat in a second, but I'm going to have, oh, you know what? I'll put it over here so I can see what you guys are doing. All right, so this rig seems to be working. And we'll go through the signal chain just so that it makes sense. So I plug in via 1/4 inch, okay? And that cable can be any length. I also have like 25 footers if I need to wander around. I can do that, but that is just like a 10-foot cable. And then it comes into my tuner. So here is the foot pedal tuner, and I think maybe this is a little bit bright. Yeah. So I will turn down the exposure. Oh, shoot, not that. That program never works. Let me go here. Let me just turn down that exposure a little bit. That didn't really help, did it? Let's go here. There we go. Okay. Increase our ISO. And we'll split the difference. I don't know. That didn't really work. Anyway, it comes into my chromatic tuner, and this guy basically just allows me to mute the output and check my strings. So make sure that I am in tune with what is going on. So that's a really convenient way. I just click that. It mutes the output on this side, and then you can just see visually where you are if you're in tune. And I have it set to bass guitar, which is one of the functions. This guy, if you're in the market for guitar gear or whatever and you don't have this is probably my favorite and best investment. It works every time. There's no question about it. It's always correct. If you are looking for a solid foot tuner, Boss Chromatic Tuner, the TU3, that's the way to do it. Out of this, then, comes this cable, and that goes into this octave pedal. Now, you might think, John, why do you need the OC5, the Boss OC5, when you play bass guitar? Well, it's actually only for a couple of notes. It seems like kind of a waste of money, but honestly, there are songs, especially Christian contemporary songs, that are always pitched like A flat or E flat or somewhere or like D, for example, the key of D. These keys basically limit you to the octave above whatever max, so the low string, the fourth string is an E, right? It's a low E. Well, anything that's right below that, so E flat or D or anything like that, or if something's pitched in A flat or A, you're fairly limited to how low the guitar can go. And so in order to really hit those low notes, instead of buying one of those adjusters that you can put on the E string, you can just drop the octave with this. And so if we're going to play E flat as the last note in the song, right, as like that resolve, as that very satisfying note that everybody's after at the end of a song, then you can't do it. You have to play it up an octave because your guitar doesn't go that low. And so if you're going to do that, you can step on this and hit that play that same note on the neck, but it would be an octave down. So this is a great little investment that allows you to drop an octave. And again, you don't use it. The key with playing bass guitar, I have always found, or singing bass for that matter, is you don't want to overdo it. You just don't want to like play the lowest basement notes all the time because first of all, it becomes underwhelming. And second of all, it's really annoying because nobody can sing with that, or nobody can, like in my prime when I was 25 or 26 years old, I could hit some serious low bass notes. I would need to practice for the next 6 months in order to get back there. But I had an amazing vocal range where I could hit these really low notes. Well, the problem with that is nobody else can sing those. Like the average guy who sings bass is going to be what's formerly known as a first bass, meaning that he can sing bass notes but in the upper register. So notes that might be on a bass guitar, like anything above a low A, so second string. That's where you should be. That's where a first bass should sing. No problem. Second basses, they can drive that low E. They can maybe even go lower than that, and that's great. Except most men who sing bass, which is greater than 50% of them, can't hit those notes, and so it becomes kind of annoying if you're singing along with a guy that's singing or playing notes that you can't sing. And so you feel like you're singing the octave up on a bass register, and the bass is supposed to be the foundation of the song. And so it's best to bring those guys who are singing those notes, or ladies. I've actually known female bass vocalists. Best to bring them into a range where they're going to hit the majority of it, and they feel like they're helping with the foundation of the song. Same thing goes with bass guitar. It's like if you're modern worship music tends to be more about singing the melody of the song because a lot of people are not musically inclined. But if you're singing or playing for a venue where people are musically inclined, and in particular, churches that used to sing hymnals, like church heritages that used to sing hymnals, those people can sing or usually know how to sing or know what it should sound like. And so if you're doing 4-part harmony or 8-part harmony or whatever it is that you're doing, you still have to sing notes that people are able to hit, right? That they're able to sing, because it makes them feel like they're a part of the song. Otherwise, modern Christian music is really designed for you to sing along with the song leader, and then the band fills out the rest. And that's great for a lot of people if that's your tradition. However, for people who are musically have a broader musical depth of Christian music, it can be really boring. It can sound kind of like flat and not in the musical sense, but it sounds very shallow on the musical depth because there's only one part to sing. So in my specific genre of music, we play music where people are singing 4-part harmony, but also the instruments are accompanying or helping or whatever. Well, if that's the case, then you need to play things that people can sing along to. And if you're just like destroying or doing rhythms or whatever that people can't follow, it's a performance and it's not corporate worship. So we can get into that another time. Anyway, so we go into our octave dropper, and that has when it's on, it drops the octave. But when it's off, it just does a direct pass through. And then out of the octave into then the first it goes into here. So this is a active direct box, an ADB, and what happens here is soundboard sends you 48 volts phantom power, and then this is your bass signal then that is going to go XLR out to your soundboard. So this is a great device. The Pro 48, made by Radial, which is assembled and built in Canada, by the way. Radial products are built in Canada, so I like it. And but anyways, it comes out of my output on my octave, which is just a pass-through when it's not on, and into the input channel on this Radial 48, okay? And then from the Radial 48, you come out via XLR to your soundboard, but there's also a pass-through on this. And this pass-through goes to a mini hum eliminator made by Pyle. Now, Pyle is a very inexpensive company that makes inexpensive electronics. Don't judge me too much because I already have one. I have one over there on a very long 1/4-inch run that basically goes over to a sound system where when we want to watch a movie that may not be kid-friendly and the kids are trying to go to sleep and we're watching it here in the theater, we wear these headphones and plug into a headphone amp and then have a great listening experience. So the hum eliminator goes in channel 1 and out channel 1, and then out of channel 1 goes over to a Behringer. Which one is this? Euphoria 202 HD. Now, you may recognize this from previous shows. Yes, Moss is on there, as my wife got me this sticker. I love it. So the Behringer 202 HD then turns this into a listenable signal. So we come in via line to input 1, and then we have a variable. Well, you can't see that. There's an audio knob right here on the front side of this panel. Oh, I can lift it up, I guess. So there it is. So there's that audio knob that we can adjust the audio, and then you can also change your gain signal and all that sort of good stuff. So it comes in via channel 1, and then and that is over traditional instrument input, and then I can listen to it with a set of headphones. Now, the only thing that I haven't done here, that's the entire signal chain, by the way. The only thing that I haven't done here is to find my wireless monitoring system. I really want to give it a try because it's a Uline 4. Uline? No, X5. One moment, please. But I used it. I've actually talked about this in the past, this unit. But honestly, I was kind of disappointed with it. I bought it for this purpose. And the reason why, X5, is that what it's called? Yeah. So X5 U4 is the number. All right, so let me jump over here, and then I can show you this. All right, so I have this little transmitter system I bought back in 2022. It works pretty well. I actually bought it because I wanted to have wireless in-ear monitors while I was on stage back in Rochester, and I could never really get it to work. It just didn't connect. It didn't give me much volume. I led worship one time when we were at Rochester, and people said it went great, but also I only did it once. And then I used this as my in-ears, and I ended up unplugging them because, like mid-service, because it just wasn't working. I just couldn't get enough volume out of it. Well, come to find out that it is probably the signal that's... I have to have a tailored signal. I'm thinking I have to have the ability to output on something like this. This is 1/4-inch output, and plug that guy into there, and then because there's an adapter with it, but plug 1/4-inch output into this 202, and then I probably have the luxury of having enough audio. So I haven't found it because this unit has disappeared. It's likely in a bin in an attic because I wasn't using it and I couldn't get it to work. I did not buy the receiver only. Last purchased in 2022. But quite honestly, I was pretty stoked about it because it's a really small, this right here. It's a really small setup. This is the next gen. But, for what I was using it for, it seemed like it should be sufficient. It just ended up not really working quite like I had hoped. And so I'm anxious to give it another try. The other thing that I have to figure out is what headphones do I use on stage? Because I don't think it would work very well for me to wear these. Oh, one thing I need to explain about why I think actually this rig is the best. Why I'm really excited about trying this rig on stage is this here, this throughput doesn't give me enough output, right? But if I go into here, this I can increase the gain on, and then I have my wireless in-ears here. The thing that I love the most about this is there is an output, right, on my tuner. So there are two outputs. One is an output and one is a bypass, which means that this thing is on all the time. So I can run. I was coming out of here and then coming out of my throughput and then going to here. I think what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to pull this one out of the throughput and put it here on the bypass. And what that's going to do is it's going to always be on in my ears. My bass guitar is always going to be on. But when I turn on the tuner, that's going to mute the output of the tuner so that people in the audience can't hear it, but I can still hear it in my ears. So the next test with this is why I tell you this, the next thing is I got to find headphones that have big enough drivers so that it doesn't distort the volume of my bass guitar. I don't mind having one ear and one ear in, one ear out, and having like the other IEM in my other ear. I don't mind that at all, but I need to find a headphone that will have a big enough driver and will not be giant headphones like these ones while I'm playing it. This is fine for studio. This is not fine for being on stage. So there is the quandary that I'm kind of in, and that's the last piece of the puzzle that we are trying to figure out. I will show you the venue. It ended up being a much bigger venue than I thought it was going to be. I was like, oh, there's a lot of people here. They're going to hear me screw up. So here is Lipscomb University. This is in the Allen Arena. And it's a beautiful facility, holds tons of people. But you may have seen the photo that I used for today's thumbnail was actually this one. And this is when the crowd was seated. Now they're seating from here all the way around to the other side of the auditorium. I'm sitting right at kind of the front where the stage was. I wonder. Yeah, there's the stage. See, and there's the Yamaha on stage. So I'm sitting here at the front, and then seats go all the way around, all the way to the other side behind me. And it was full of students, which I was surprised that they had that many. So that was kind of cool, but a big group. Everybody said it was great, that it went really well. You know, you're your own worst critic, so I knew when I screwed up. But I'm looking for in-ear monitors that will be able to handle bass frequencies better. Now, of course, on Amazon, every set of headphones says that they have an amazing bass response. How much we believe them, the jury's still out on that. But it would be great to find something that would work really well. So I'm open to suggestions, but I can't break the bank buying them. So there's the restriction, right? A subarray is on one side. So let's jump into the chat real quick. So the subarray is on one side of the stage and goes in towards the center of the congregation. They are carefully calculated spacing, angles, and delay applied in symmetrics. Ooh, DPS, really cool. All right, I'm listening. Hey, don't forget of all your definition comes from the mids and high range. It's true. It cancels sound to the rear of the array and creates increased performance, low frequency, summation, and amazing control of the low ends. Oh man, I'll get into this, how excited I am for next week's show. Angus, yep, correct. I like to emphasize the 2,000 to 3,000 hertz on bass guitars. Yes, that is true. That's the correct method, by the way. Hey, what are you using for your overhead shot? It looks challenged. It is a really crappy webcam that I don't have the money to buy a decent lens for that. So yes, it is a challenged. It's a Logitech camera. Moss might raise some eyebrows at that. Typical active powered instruments pedals should have passive DIs, and passive instruments use active phantom power DIs, with the only exception being a piezo pickup in acoustic guitars. Hey, check out Peterson's tuners when you can. Strobe tuning is a thing. We tune at 432 hertz instead of 440, but also has different temperaments for various instruments. Acoustic and electric guitars sound better, tuned slightly differently as compared to equal temperaments. Ooh, that's cool. Hey, John, I got to jump. Thanks as always for doing. Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for stopping by. Hey, I like the X5 IEM. We just became dealers for X5. Right on. So, like, yeah, I just feel like I've had a bad. Okay, so I was having issues with it. I plugged it in to my amp, right? So I have a little 25 rumble Fender amp for my bass guitar that I just practice on, I play with. And I started taking it on stage and using it as my IEM, which is not in ear, but using it as my monitor because I needed to hear something. And so last year in January when we were in Gulf Coast, that's what I used on stage, and it actually worked kind of better than nothing. The first year I had nothing and was flying blind, and I felt awful about it. This year was much better, and I should have used it on last Thursday, but I just kind of ran out of time. And the sound, I hate instrumental sound checks on stage because I feel like we don't have time to really play and get comfortable with the way that the room sounds. We just kind of wing it. So it was frustrating, but it's always frustrating, and you know, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. Anyway, So that is what was going on a week ago. And I have spent a little bit of time thinking about, okay, how do I make this work for me? I am going to try and use the IEM wireless packs because then I don't have to be tied down to my, like have a wire for my in-ears. I also use an X5. I have an X5 transmitter and receiver. I do not like the way that these are shaped. I think they're so wonky when they sit in the guitar. But these are the wireless transmitter receivers that I use in practice. I don't usually go wireless for my instrument because you never know what you're going to get when you walk into a venue like that. But I do have the wireless transmitter receivers for the guitar, and honestly, at home they work just fine. I don't lose too much in terms of frequency and whatever. They're pretty consistent. Just gonna plug it in here so that I can charge that. And I don't remember where the other one is. So yeah, that's okay. So currently that is my map. What I'm interested in is, even if they're just cheap headphones, but they like in-ears, but they work well in the bass frequency response, then great. That would be fantastic. I would love to have an EQ so that I could bump those frequencies after the, that are going to my ears. And so I might look for a pedal EQ option, something that could sit on my pedal board and I could just use it as an EQ to emphasize those mid to high frequencies a little more so that I can hear them better. I do like stuff that's by like MXR. I do like Boss stuff, so that might be an option. I don't know though. Does anybody have any experience with using pedal EQs? And I purchased, for example, I've tried a bunch of pedals, as you do. I've tried Donners. I've tried various things, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. There's another pedal here, by the way, that I didn't talk about, but this is, if you're curious, this is a very hairy. This is a slide advancer for my iPad. So I have my music digitized usually, and we use Nashville numbering system for all the stuff that we do. So if you don't know what that is, it basically breaks up all your chords into numbers, and then it doesn't matter what key you're in. They just say, all right, 1-4-6 or 1-4-5. That's our key structure, and then it's pretty straightforward because worship music is not complicated. So we use Nashville numbering. I export those things to my iPad. I either use Evernote for that so I can use it offline, or Planning Center or something like that. But this will advance PDF pages, and I can just step on it. So you don't have to swipe with your hand. You just advance your slides this way. So as long as you're familiar with where you are in the song, which was also a problem I had last week, where if you lose your spot, you're kind of scrambling around looking for things. But anyway, so I am looking for a potential EQ. High pass filter and a little mid boost definitely help you hear yourself in your monitors. Rylan Russell YouTube channel has a good IEM video. All right, I'll check that out. That's good. Yeah. Any brands, like Boss is a little expensive, but I trust them. Right? Like that's usually the case, is like I know that I'm going to get something decent. So I would rather. Oh, that's funny. This is literally a bass EQ, but it just boosts these two. Yeah, okay. All right, I'll open that. I'll open this one. 7-band. Oh, bass. This is literally a bass EQ. Well, let's look at that. That would be very topical. So, yeah, this would give us the frequencies that I'm looking to enhance wouldn't necessarily need the 10,000 range. But yeah. And I have an open power supply on my I have an open power option, so I could power this guy with DC power. Parametric are usually preferred over graphic EQ since each frequency adjuster introduces phase changes to accomplish its effects. Parametric EQs adjust more range with less phase change. You might consider a multi-effects pedal for all the stuff that you're doing. I have a Line 6 Pod Go with wireless. Lots of good bass settings, and every pedal you've mentioned is also built into this. Line 6 Pod Go. Let's take a little look then. Line 6 Pod Go. So the Pod Go, oh yeah, I've actually seen this before. Multi-effects pedal. What is... The problem is you buy it over time, right? So phones, amp out, main outs, effects loops. So your guitar in, and then you have balanced outputs or output to the amp. So I'm assuming then you go amp to DI box. Why wouldn't they just put a DI on this thing? Come on, man. You're right, though. This pretty much does everything I need it to do. Parametric. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Well, might need to save my pennies for something like that. Not. Oh, you have the wireless version? What's the difference? Other than the word wireless. Built-in relay wireless includes relay, transmitter, compact portable, interface, effects loop, expression pedal. Does the wireless Bluetooth thing then allow you to sync it to an iPad so you can change? Is that what you're talking about? Let's move, get going. Pod family. Check out the one with the wireless option. The Line 6 is balanced out, I believe, so no DI box is required. DI is built in. It's using TRS out. So PodGo wireless features, yada, yada, yada. Need to cover every section of the song, plus its audio board relays. Gives you license to roam wherever you want. Yeah, that would basically replace my entire board. Right? Foot switch inputs. Whoops. Ah, no. Interesting. The wireless is an option. You can still plug it in, or you have wireless guitar options to walk around. Oh, I see. I see what you mean. The wireless has a transmitter, or transmitter built in. That's what you're talking about. It's not Bluetooth enabled, so I'd still need a foot switch. Ooh, that's cool. But yeah, that's cool. Actually, I'd be getting a whole bunch more stuff if I went with this thing. Hmm. Well, it's a little heavy on the price, but it definitely does everything. Two on our stage have these, and we like them a lot. It's basically an affordable Helix. It's true. This would be more than the guitar is worth, but the wireless transmitter charges on the pedal as well. Yeah, you put it in there and it charges. That's so cool. Well, I'm gonna see. Yeah, I need to like have a little savings fund. I I guess I've already kind of started. Oh, although is it in? Hang on, let me check PayPal. So I think I'm using PayPal for this stuff. Let's find out. Yeah. So I'm nowhere near saved up for this, but the gig that we actually did on Thursday might send a little money, so I'll put that towards it, and I'll just add this to a wish list and see what happens. We can also check out, of course, like Sweetwater and Dixon's Sweetwater list. What is that? Here is line 6 pod go wireless. Yeah, so $600. Okay. So that is the price. But yeah, that would be. So, and then on the wireless unit, right? View all. Where are we here? Where's the. That's really annoying. This shot. Where's the back of the board? Is it? Oh, it's down here on the user interface stuff. Okay, so just take a little closer. Where is it? I just saw it. Right? I'm not crazy. I saw this recently. I want to see that picture. Oh, maybe it was on this one. Yeah, there it was. Okay, so phones out. Do you use the X5 wireless phones IEMs for on this? Does it work? And Use Marketplace might have good deals on these. Ooh, that's a good idea. What on earth? Yeah, okay. Let me see. Let me just poke into Marketplace and see. Wow, yeah. Especially here in Nashville. Okay. Save that one. Ships to you. What if I come pick it up? Is it cheaper? Okay, well, this is super, super helpful. And Judson, man, I'm glad you came along for the ride here because I would not have noticed. I would have probably ended up buying an EQ. And yeah, maybe I could get something like this that would work even better. So, and then maybe I'll sell my stuff and it'll be a wash. So that'd be cool. Anyway, so that's kind of my pickle that I have, and I think every bass player has that issue, is how do you hear yourself on stage consistently? I think my confidence level would go up considerably if I could mute and just listen in my headphones, play along when the song kind of starts, get comfortable with the range and all that stuff, and then click a button and go for it. Judson, one question I have for this, but actually though, is do you know if you can link this to a device so that I could advance the slides or like advance my pages on my iPad? Because I don't see that it can connect via Bluetooth. It says that it's not Bluetooth enabled, so that's fine. I mean, I have this little thing for that reason alone. But again, the more stuff I can eliminate in the pack, the better. I did actually end up just buying this little bigger foot pedal board because I had a little one and it was not big enough for what I was doing. So I had too many. So I bought a little bigger foot pedal board and now it all fits on here. And now I might just be selling all these products. So that's good. That's fun. Good times, great oldies. Well, thanks for that. That's helpful. And I will see if you are... Uh-oh. There it is. I'll see if you're hanging around. IEM is separate for me, but you could plug in the headphones out. Okay. I really need to... I need to find the... I need to find my X5 units because I do want to give it a try in the current configuration. And if that works, then I'm pretty much set for whatever gig comes up in the next little, like, couple of months. But then, yeah, that would be kind of fun to maybe upgrade to this Line 6 pod. It'd be so much easier to carry. That's for sure. I might still use my pedal board that I bought, or maybe I should return it. Maybe I should return it because I don't really need it. How much was it? It wasn't that much. But if I return it, then I get to put that money towards it as well. Yeah, maybe. Might be worth it, actually. Anyway, it wasn't that much, but it's a little bit more than what I have, so that would get me closer. Okay, so that's there. That's the challenges that I've had, and now I have a path forward. So as always, thank you, everybody. The real briefly about next week. So we're going to build an intercom system with a Symmetrics Dante enabled 12x8. I'm going to actually go and pick up the unit today, as well as some body packs. Now, this whole rig is way more expensive, okay, than the wireless ones. We probably spent $2,500, maybe $3,000 on the wireless rig that we currently have for the intercoms at the soundstage. We will be pulling wire and we'll be doing all of this, hard-lined, essentially, which will eliminate the luxury of us just walking around with our headsets on. But that I'm not so worried about. What I'm more worried about is not being able to hear people. And that is far more of a concern. And it's an issue that we've been having with a practically brand new, it's like 8 months old Ceramonic headset system. So we're going to eliminate the Wi-Fi stuff. We're probably going to sell that rig. If anybody wants it, you're welcome to have it after I've bashed it so much. It works just fine. It just occasionally isn't super clear all the time, and I'm not able to integrate program into it. So if anyone's interested in buying it, there are about at least 6 usable headsets and a hub and a box, a freight case, and a wireless battery charger, and about a dozen batteries, about 8 of them are charging. So it would be a good little system for somebody just kind of getting up and running. But man, we progress. So Safe Harbor really kind of grows quickly. And what I'm excited about with this Dante Radius 12x8 is that it gives me 128 Dante channels, which means that intercoms is layer 1 for our future. But now we have Dante. And all it takes is a little interface to get Dante, getting a channel into Dante. All I need is an AVIO device or something like that. And I can turn that signal into a Dante signal, and then I can send that to any output that I want. So the future is bright because we're moving to this highly flexible thing. Now, the bigger project, phase 3 and 4 of this project, is getting Dante to the remote site for comms. And I think I could use Bird Dog Connect for that. So inside Bird Dog Connect, I can log into my system here and show you. So inside Bird Dog Connect, you have the option to create a signal, right? And where is it here? Where you can pretty much just say audio mode and turn an NDI signal into a Dante signal. And if that's the case, then I could send Dante over this, right? Is that what I'm understanding here? Maybe do this. And the question, I guess, would be if we plug in the AVIO adapter, would it show up as a Dante source? Do I have the Dante controller? No. I don't have any Dante sources today. But that will be like phase 3, because if we could connect a Dante source and send it across and then just plug in a Dante device on the other side and listen and maybe even communicate over it. Who knows? Who knows what the options are to do that? But the next phase is getting Dante to the remote site and using the intercom system at remote, because what I really want to have happen is I want to be able to send my other technician or future technicians into the field with our minister and to do a live production with them, but them just put on a Dante headset, plug in a cable to a port, and they're up and running. That's what I want to do, big time. So if that's possible, then, you know, and if it's fast enough where they can hear us, but if that's possible, then our comms questions are solved with Dante, and that would be amazing. It doesn't even have to be like a high bit rate. It just needs to be audible, honestly. So this is pretty cool. What we're going to do is we're going to use the soundstage camera as our web stream. And we are going to, and then this is like the in-house presenter, right? So if I wanted to turn on the lights over in Brentwood, I had this up here earlier, so it's probably an app that I had open, but all right, so check this out. I'll open up the app and I'll just turn on the house lights that are there. Boom. So we are now watching this live from the soundstage. Why? Hang on one second. Did I click the wrong one? I may have clicked the wrong one. This is Bird Dog Connect. All right, so all right, they're not bright enough, I guess. So I will remote into the laptop and turn on the lights. Anyways, so yeah, Bird Dog Connect. This is the trial, right? And what the heck was that? 1 second. Okay. Oh. Okay. So if I log into this machine and go ahead and turn on the stage lights. So I'm 3, 2, 1, click. There's our sound stage. So those lights do have a 5-second uptime or a 2-second uptime. So fade. And that's our cam 4 is what that is. So it is fast enough for a conversation. If I change it down to, let's say, like 30%, see how quick this is. So that's pretty great that it's that quick and that I can control the lights and it moves really efficiently. I haven't tested the audio, but I have high hopes that the audio is so minimal compared to what else we need that I should be in good shape, right? Like we shouldn't have any real issues getting a return feed. And so now the question is, well, if it's that fast, then can I send a Dante signal over to a computer on that side and use it that way? I don't know. The line 6 is not Bluetooth, but I shared a link for the page turner that I like, the Joyo page turner on Amazon. We have Hollyland comms, and they've been solid. Yes, and we looked at Hollyland comms, and we decided the only problem with the Holly lenses, they're pretty much identical to the Ceramonics, other than I think yours work all the time. NDI Tools has an audio option. Used with Dante Virtual Sound Card, you can do a lot of damage. I've even just used Discord app on phones to communicate with Field to Control, and it's free. There is a Hollyland kit that can take in program, I believe. And that was one of our big complaints is we were like, I want to add like an input from my soundboard into my headphones. How do I do it? And they're like, and I was like, oh, for crying out loud. You guys can't do anything. So, yeah, we kind of gave up on Ceramonic. But I'm going like so much further now because we're integrating Dante across the entire network, and we're going to do analog inputs into the back of the Radius so that our talkback jacks on the Blackmagic cameras will work. We talked to a guy at Blackmagic who all he does in his basement all the time is figure out how to get various types of intercom systems to work with Blackmagic. So he's like, once you guys kind of get up and running, let me know if you're having any problems. Here's the pinout. He told us the pinout. He showed us where to find it. But he said, if you're having any problems, just reach out to me and I can walk you through how it is that I got it to work. So pretty excited about that. It looks pretty basic, to be honest with you. I don't think I'm going to have much of an issue, but we will see. Did you see the bit about Jack Trip? No. Hang on. Where did I miss that? I missed it. Run it by me again because I 100% missed it. All right. So yeah, we're in good shape, everybody. I'm looking forward to the next couple of weeks because, whoa, that can't be real. Hang on. Our concurrent viewers can't be that high. What? Reports that there are 13 concurrent viewers. Yo, guys, jump in the chat. Let me know that you're here. That's crazy. That number's not... I know it sounds absolutely ridiculous for a live stream to have only 13 viewers, but, like, that is a... Last week it was, like, none. I appreciate everybody coming out. This is fun. It's fun to talk about. And fun to talk about maybe what else we can be doing to make this this rig that I use better. Okay, final update of the final news update before we can kind of sign off. Remember a while ago when I said that we were going to be I'm creating an office, a real office for me to work from home here at the house, right? It's going to be in a second garage, which is built next to my home. And yeah, it's going to be pretty great. So remember when I said all that? Well, it's finally happening. And, oh, I thought somebody took a picture. Apparently I should take more pictures. Anyways, we had the guys come out and level. And then we had the guys come out and do rebar and footers. And so we are moments away. Oh, and then I had a guy come out and pour concrete yesterday. So I haven't taken that picture yet. But we are moments away from the frame of my second garage going up, where my truck will live and where I will live while I'm working. And so this is where the show will eventually be, in the back of that building. It's going to have lots of storage. It's going to be big enough for my truck and my mower and a workbench. It's going to be big enough for a small recording studio area. It is going to be great. So this is a 24 by 36 footprint, and it does have plumbing. I will be running the electrical, which I'm like all amped up about because I think it's going to be so cool. But and I get to do it all. Like I get to customize it however I want. So pretty excited. It's going to have storage in the attic and a staircase that takes me up there. That's pretty cool. It's going to have a great big window at the back in my office so I can look out into my beautiful backyard with the forest and the wildlife and the trees and the bees and I won't say birds and the bees, but with the bees and the cows that are in the field behind us. It's going to provide some privacy between my neighbors and I, who we love our neighbors. They've been fantastic. But they have a pool and they like to go swimming, and we don't need to be peering at them while they're swimming, and they would probably like some privacy too. So that will block the house. That one window there is actually the kitchen. It will block that direct view into their pool. But yeah, pretty excited. So yesterday the guys came and poured the concrete. That was expensive. but they poured the concrete. It looks amazing, and it is ready for the next phase. And so they're going to call me in the next couple of days to order materials, and that'll be great. I hope actually that they haven't ordered materials, because if they haven't, that means it's the changes I made are not set in stone. There'll be a door at the back on the wall, on the side wall. So see where those two plumbing pipes are. Beyond that, near the back of the building, there'll be a pedestrian door that'll go into my office. There will be a wall 10 feet from the back wall. That will be the dividing wall for my office and for the garage. And then the remaining space will be garage space with an attic. So yeah, it's pretty exciting that that is happening, and it's all coming together. More on that as it develops, but this is real. We're doing it. And so that'll be great to kind of have a dedicated space that I can use as my office, but also as a recording space and a few other things. So Jack Trip is a free software that transports audio from one place to another. Just put Dante Virtual Sound Card on each end and get 46 channels back and forth. No kidding. Is the audio cutting in and out for anyone else? He's been dropping out momentarily for me, but mostly fine. Oh, crap. Hey, nice. Looks like an awesome start. Hey, thank you. I think it looks fine without the walls. Best office ever. Make sure you have plenty of power out there. Oh, and Angus laughed at that too. Make sure you have plenty of power out there. Full 240 volt sub panel. Okay, so I may not go full 240, but there will be plenty of power because I have a 200 panel on my house, and the whole house it has an 80 panel inside. So I will probably run another 80 outside and still not top out. I mean, I guess there's no reason why I shouldn't just do 120, but I will probably have 80 amps outside, and then, yes, be running a bunch of stuff like heating and air conditioning. I'm going to have to install that. We're going to have to do all the lighting, all this power. I want my office to be like ridiculous with the outlets, and I want tons of breakers. I just want everything basically on its own circuit because I want to be able to load it up and not have any problems with power. So this will be quite the experiment. Yes, it will be quite the experiment. So we shall see how that all kind of works out, but pretty excited about it. It should be pretty great. And I may even have to get a little transfer switch outside, because if the power goes out, I'm going to be out of luck. I could just anyway, I'll have to think it through. But more on that later. Pretty excited about this little build that I'm doing. Yeah, it's going to be great. The leveled ground is several inches above the driveway, and so they carved out a little ramp so that when the garage door comes down, comes up, I can just drive my truck right in. Yeah, that's going to be awesome. For an EV truck, I don't have an EV truck. Yeah, man, sub panel in the garage. Oh, for sure. For sure. Make sure that you have enough power for both a welder and an EV. I don't know if I'm going to end up with an EV or not. We shall see. But if anything, we could put there's tons of open breakers on my house panel. And so maybe the EV goes in the house garage and not in the second garage. But, time will tell. Time will tell. Mr. Cool Mini Splits. We installed one here in Minnesota, and we also became dealers to keep rack rooms cool. Yeah, I will be honest. I'm looking at that. I'm looking for Mr. Cool Mini Split. Hey, here's a question. How do you keep a soundproofed room air conditioned? The only way that I could find out is to do a box and snake fan system that puts cool air into the room and also removes the hot air. So you can build it in the wall, but is there a better way to do that? Because I need the recording booth to be dead quiet, but also ventilated, because I don't want people passing out of heat exhaustion or lack of oxygen or all that sort of good stuff. So it will be a sealed up room as best I can. My money is not unlimited. Matter of fact, my money is very limited. So we're going to do the best we can. But the idea is doing sound baffles, basically. Yeah, baffles upon baffles. Exactly right. To to do that. Yeah. Mini splits or ducted mini splits. We use something called a duct muffler to dampen sound into a soundproof studio. A duct muffler. Let's go ahead and get on over to the Googles. Let's have a ooh. Yeah, so they use these in greenhouses, right? I think duct mufflers. Let's go ahead and take a look. Reduce. Why doesn't this show as an audio channel? That's weird. Weed in a pot? Why? Okay, stop that. Everything you need to know about sound attenuators for an HVAC system. So, tell me a little bit more about. Where are you here? I'll get back to the chat. Tell me a little bit more about the duct mini split. I'm going to Google that too. Duct mini split. And then they output it near the ceiling because hot air rises. So you pump cold air in. And then you also have another one on the other side of the room that's in the ceiling. And then so it trades. It like kind of pushes the hot air. The cold air gets pushed into the room. And that pushes the hot air up to the vent. And then you cycle the air out. That's pretty cool. And you can build it even with like Noctua fans and stuff so that they're really dead quiet and they only come on at certain temperatures. But it sounds like a lot of work. I would love to just be able to buy something. And old fart smells. What on earth? So I'd love to be able to just to buy something that would work. If you do wind up with an EV, it's worth remembering that very few people need more than a 20 amp 120 volt charger at home. Well, that is useful. It's not that different from a muffler on a car to make it quiet. We feed the air from the top of the outside wall down the wall through the duct muffler and out the bottom of the wall. Okay. That's what I was thinking. It's a mini split that sends the air through ductwork so it removes from the room. But FYI, ours is so quiet. Interesting. How does it so it goes I just want to see like okay, how would I install this? All right, does Mr. Cool have those? Mini splits, air conditioners, ducted mini splits from AC Wholesalers. So static concealed duct unit, multi or single zone. What is a concealed duct mini split? All right, we're just going to mute this dude because you're not going to be able to hear him. Oh, that's cool. Okay, chip, chip, chip. Okay, so It's so deep, though. All right. Yes. I assume the ducted mini split would sit on your outside wall on your wall outside the room as normal, but feed the duct in through the wall into the conditioned space. Interesting. All right, so he's mounted this outside. My cool? No, Mr. Cool. Because I would love to have dual units, right? There's also a ceiling cassette style mini split. They go between the ceiling joists. Out of sight ceiling cassettes. Yeah. Specs. Interesting. Out of sight ceiling cassettes. Easy Pro, multi zone. How does it work, though? That's what I want to know. You just run your lines to this? Is that what I'm seeing? Low profile install. Design to work with current and future joist standards. Install between standard ceiling joists. Installs between eye joists and secured with screws. Install between ceiling joists. Elevate. No, I'm sorry. Activating the elevation function on the remote controller or smart controller, and the filter panel will lower for easy air filter maintenance. Single and multi-zone possibilities. Enhanced control from anywhere. Because, like, I could go for 2 of these. Can they run to the same system? I'm sure they can, right? Because it says multi-zone. Where is the unit outside? Compare 18 horsepowers, 12. Whoops. Mini split, 4th gen, fits between 16-inch ceiling joists. Features are easily accessible. Shut it. Low profile install, pair with 4-zone multi-zone system. And design. Stop. Skip and close, man. What is wrong with you? Jeez. 12,000 BTUs. Decibel ratings 41 and 35. Low rating 26. That's impressive. It looks like an inline mini split. There are also cassette styles mini split that go between ceiling joists. Yes, lines and wiring to the outside unit. It's a heat pump, so it can heat and cool. Yes, the outside unit has multiple ports to feed multiple units inside. Yes, one outdoor unit can feed multiple indoor units. Fascinating. Okay, so now we're talking. First of all, we're talking because it removes the heating and cooling from the wall, like the big wall unit, and it hides it in the ceiling. So that's stinking cool. And I really need to get... All right, so are we talking about these units then? Specs. I guess these are all bundles, right? The Advantage, leakage detection, specs. All right, so 5th gen, I mean, I don't even know what I'm looking for here. Condenser, mini split. Because, yeah, I would start with one of each, and then as I'm building out the sound booth, then you add the second one, right? Hey, just hit me up later, and I can help you pick the right system. Awesome. That would be helpful. Thank you. Okay, so let's pause, because although I would love to sit here and talk for hours about the future of that room and that, you know, I'm so stinking excited about it. It's going to be amazing. Although I could sit here and talk for a long time about that, I probably need to go back to work. So thank you so much, everybody, for hanging around. What a great show of people here on the YouTube channel. So thanks for hanging around. Always great. 5th gen is the new refrigerant. It's news to me. Advantage 5th gen. Can you still... I know that you can get like these at like Home Depot, right? They're one of their dealers. But if you're a dealer, then maybe we go with you. We'll have to see. Mr. Cool. Mini splits. Come on. Yeah, so where is the brand, category, price, best match, all filters? I want probably a bundle. Can I... Zone capacity, 2 zones. View results. No bundles for that. Okay, so let's get rid of the bundle. And let's just say zone capacity 2. There we go. None of these are Mr. Cool. So we'll say filters, brand. Oh, they don't have any. Okay, well, anyway. Yeah, this is so stinking fun, though. I mean, I'm pretty excited about the option to do all this. So, and those ceiling cassettes look so stinking cool. Oh, can't wait. Can't wait. That would solve so many problems I have. So, yeah. Hey, the audio is falling out of sync. Are you serious? What the? That is very strange. Let me pull this open here real quick. Go to live. No. I'm lined up here. So maybe it fell out and then now it's back. I'm not too sure what's going on. Anyway, hey, I'm happy to help. Thanks, Judson. Appreciate that. Hey, we should be able to match or beat advertised pricing. Let's go. That'd be great. If you can match, fantastic. If you can beat, even better. Yeah, because I'm going to need some heating and cooling in this space, and when people come to record, I definitely don't want to make them pass out. So it would be great. Looking forward to that. All right, let's wrap this up. Next week, we're going to talk intercoms. That system should be here, and I'm going to put it in my open rack. And we're going to start monkeying with stuff. So pretty excited about that. You don't want to miss that. We're building an intercom system over Dante using Symmetrics Radius and Dante AVIO and Sound Technologies belt packs and a whole bunch of stuff. So I'll introduce all those products next week. I'm leaving here this afternoon in 3 hours to go and pick those things up. And, oh yeah, I also have another trip. I'm headed to Washington in a couple of weeks on Labor Day to do another remote record because we had such success with the one out of Michigan. And that one is up on our website, by the way. That was 2 weeks ago. It's up on YouTube. So if you're curious to see how that looked, that was our first test of that, and that is up on YouTube at Our Safe Harbor. That title is Fruits of the Spirit called Joy, and it's with a guy that's in a black shirt with a black background. It's pretty neat. I'm going to try and step up my game, although I'm going to have to be really resourceful because I can't take all the equipment that I took to Michigan because I'm not taking my truck. I'm flying. So I'm going to have to build a rig and ship it out there with all the essentials. So here we go. We're going to try that out and make sure that, this will be a bit of an adventure. And then we're also going to try out Bird Dog Connect and see if we can use that as our return feed. So fingers crossed that it is super simple and just works, which is the plan. All right. Everybody, thank you so much for coming by. Always appreciate you. Thanks for spending some time with me today. Angus, thank you for hanging around. Thanks for coming back. And hopefully you sorted out that dog situation. And we will see you all next week when we talk about Dante Intercoms. Synchronize your watches for 10 o'clock Central Time next Thursday, and we will talk about that and about my trip out to Washington, and we'll go from there. Be well, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And we'll see you all in the next one.